Oh!
Stepped out of the line, and the 47, Trevor Grafton, crosses it on the apron, but he crosses first. He's our winner.
Right there will be your race winner, the 2 of Jameer Muhammad, bringing it to victory lane here tonight. It will officially be Sal Casey getting the win here tonight. He's just got to get across the line first, and there he is right there. Your winner here tonight is going to be the 40 of Sal Casey. We'll see right there. He will do it. Your race winner is going to be the 84 of Bryson Barker, led 28 laps. The most laps led here tonight. Bring it to the line right there. Your race winner will officially be the 2 of Jameer Muhammad, putting it into victory lane here tonight. Will be Mikey Neal officially will be your race winner here tonight. The checkered flag in the air for James Zarello, getting the win right there. Your race winner here, Bristol Motor Speedway, will be the 13 of James Zarello.
And your race leader tonight is the 83 of Alex Hoffman at Richmond Raceway.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again here to Virtual Racing Network. Of course, tonight is the RACECORE Online Racing League. This is the Global Building Contractors 12-week series, kind of a off-season series before we get to the main series coming up in January, which we are now fully funded for, so we will be back for the season coming in January. Of course, that will be for the Sunday series, not for the Tuesday night series. But before we get into all of that, we want to go through all of the sponsors that make this race and broadcast possible. Of course, starting here with the racing side of things, this league wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the following partners. Those include, of course, the presenting sponsor here for tonight's race, Global Building Contractors. Make sure you check them out, give them a shout out for all they do to help this league. Also give a big shout out to iRacing Drivers World, Leo's Coney Island out of Rochester Hills, and Dan Butler Designs. And of course, here for the broadcast, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the following partners. Those include Northwest Racing Series, your official one-to-go sponsor. Make sure you check them out. Walls Beard Co. Beard Balm, your official starting grid sponsor for tonight's race. Ohio IndyCar League, the official IndyCar League of Virtual Racing Network. SimSpeedShop.com. If you're looking for a custom button box or e-brake, check them out at SimSpeedShop.com. And of course, iBog, the official graphic sponsor here for Virtual Racing Network. Make sure you check out all of these great partners and sponsors on board. And we are just right here at the end of it, so we're going to step away very quickly for the National Anthem as time is running out for qualifying. So we'll be right back, and we will have a special guest to introduce when we get back. So we'll be right back with qualifying after the National Anthem.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to go ahead and drop right down as they do not have much time to get around this track. So we're going to put qualifying up as well as your driver bar here as you're watching Damian Leininger, the first one out. And we were giving him a little bit of a razz because he called himself a guest appearance here tonight. He's technically not a guest. He's more like family at this point. We have to welcome back to the booth. It's been a little bit. Wanted to be here Sunday, but internet issues did not allow it for us. Not necessarily him. But Jeff, welcome back to the booth once again.
Hey, Charles. Been too long. Glad to be back here, man.
Well, we are definitely glad to have you back here. And, we keep telling people, we might not be here if it wasn't for you. You've helped us out a lot with trying to get our internet sorted out with Spectrum. So, obviously, a big shout out to you for helping us with that. Nobody's put in a time just yet, so this is going to be where it becomes very interesting to see who does get the pole here. 27 drivers. And we already know, we got some fast ones in here. Like Josh Cole will be pretty quick, assuming he does qualify. It looks like he's going to. You got people like Jameer Muhammad, Alex Huffman, Mikey Neal. These guys are going to be fast, but really, it's Superspeedway, so it really doesn't really matter about being fast. But getting pole is beneficial for that pit stop or your pit stall.
Well, it's not just a pit stall. I mean, you guys, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse just jumping into the super speedway race because I've done so many. But you know me, man. I want to be out front at the super speedways. I don't want to be in row 2. I don't want to be in the middle. I don't want to be in the back. So for me, I think getting the pole at the super speedway races is crucial.
Yeah, they definitely, I would agree with that. They're very crucial. And, again, it really is like beating a dead horse, but we mention it each time we come here. Being out front, trying to avoid the chaos is going to happen further back in the field is going to be good. Getting that pit stall up front is going to be good. But, it really comes down to who are you going to work with, and are they going to work with you? So teammates are going to be important here, and coming in as a group is going to be important. And as we've seen in the last few races here, I hate to bring it up here, but especially you can attest to here, not making mistakes on pit road can be a key to winning this race.
Oh, you're going to go there, huh? Not making a mistake on pit road is huge if we get green flag run to the finish. You can kind of get away with it if we get some caution that wants the field back up and you got another shot at it. Although then you probably have to come through the field. We just raced here myself in our league, and we actually had a green flag race the whole race, beginning to end, no cautions. And one pit road mistake just was my undoing. I never had a chance to recover. So I can attest firsthand, which is what I think you were alluding to, that pit road can make or break in these races.
Yeah, and hopefully all goes well here for Josh Coley. We want to bring him up as he is qualifying. As unfortunately last night, he was eliminated from the chase, and we found out what happened. I'm not even sure if you know what happened there, but he does use the VR headset, and the VR headset actually froze on him during the race. That is what happened that put him in the wall and put him laps down. So hopefully that doesn't happen here tonight, but he's out here looking for a win after a disappointing race last night that knocked him out of the chase.
Yeah, I certainly can feel for that, right? I run VR too, and I'm sure plenty of guys in this league that run VR. And while it's great, the immersion's wonderful. Turning your head side to side, seeing cars. I mean, most of us that run VR have panic attacks at the thought of not. But unfortunately, when you're new to it, until you get all the settings dialed in, you do run the risk of some of those stutters and things. And I think we remember earlier in the year where you were trying to help me with some issues related to some stuttering and stuff. Man, that can be tough in VR.
It definitely can. It's tough enough. We deal with it broadcasting, but with the VR headset, it just amplifies everything. But that's actually going to do it here for qualifying. It is done. We have a ton of drivers that did not qualify here, so that is going to be something very interesting to see how these guys work their way through the field. And, of course, it's not a matter of will we see the big one, it's when are we going to see the big one here at Talladega. But we'll go ahead and get through your Walls Beard Co. starting grid. And since we have you here, Jeff, do you want to run through our first 5 rows or top 10 drivers?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Starting in row 1 there, in P1, we got the 84 of Bryson Barker. Outside row 1 in the 13 car, we got James Larillo. In row 2, we've got the 76 of Reese Melton and the 64 of Tony Rice. Starting in row 3, we've got the 28 of Jason Allison and the 555 of Butch Fraser. In row 4, we've got the 98 car of Jerry Glenn and the 33 of, looks like Josh Cully. And in row 5, we've got the 78 of John Van Varillas and the 3 of Damian Leininger. In row 6, we've got the 21 of Dan Butler and the number 8 car of Mikey Justified Neal. In row 9, we've got the 2 car of Jameer Muhammad, and rounding out your top 14, we've got the 45 of Brian Jones.
In row 8 is going to be the 5 of Brandon Dorsett, not taking a time, and the 48 of Dustin Covington, also not taking a time from his point on. Row 9 is going to be the 9 of Brian Dorsey and the 83 of Alex Huffman. Row 10 is going to be the 24 of Brian Bizzle and the 91 of Jim Locking. Row 11 is going to be the 6 of Matthew Ellis and the 101 of David Gainforth. Row 12 is going to be the 51 of Brandon Young and the 70 of Sam Crow. Row 13 is going to be the 50 of Sterling Smith and the 99 of Justin Starr. And rounding out the fields here tonight is going to be on row 14, the 96 of Craig Covington. And, of course, that will do it for the Walls Beard Co. starting grid. Everybody is starting here tonight as well. So this could get very, very interesting to see how soon they go 3 wide. Will they go 3 wide at all tonight?
Well, it's Talladega. You got to think at some point they're going to be tempted to take it 3 wide, right? We got enough room down the straightaways. You got to be in a pretty good group, though, to make it through those corners. There's enough room, but those lines got to stay straight. But, I would say if the racing's close and there's positions that need to be gained there towards the end and you get a little bit of aggressiveness out of a couple drivers, we'll absolutely see 3 wide.
I definitely think we will as well, as we are getting everything geared up and ready to go here. Hopefully everybody out there is enjoying the race, and we're getting ready. We're actually going to zoom out here a little bit so you can get a little bit better feel. We love to get up close with these cars so you can see the sponsors, but at the same time, we want to be able to let you see this field. It's a pretty massive field. Again, 27, obviously about half of what this field's can hold, a little over half, but still a very sizable field.
Yeah, we've got a full field there, and I'm seeing in the middle of this field, which would make me nervous. There's some pretty good drivers in this league sitting in the middle of this field. So it's a long ways to the back. It's a long ways to the front. And if you're in the middle, you probably don't want to stay there, so you got a decision to make.
Yeah, you definitely have a decision to make. And as always here, they're still pacing. The pace car is off. There it is. A green flag is out for the first time here at Talladega. Is that start-finish line is just so far back. It's actually past the exit of pit road. It's a very different. It's an iconic track. It's different than any other track out there in the way it is. And they get going here and really kind of spread out for the first probably 15 cars. That's kind of not what I expected.
Yeah. Well, we got a good safe start here. We actually got a little bit of 3 wide toward back of this pack, a little bit in the middle. So maybe not the most organized of starts, but certainly a nice safe start, spread out. We're getting 2 lines formed up right now, and here we go.
They are indeed 4 on the outside with the 13 of James Zarello, followed by Tony Rice, the 98 of Jerry Glenn, which to my knowledge, I have never called him in a race. So for all intents and purposes, he is not a rookie. He's actually a class, but to us, he's a rookie here in the series. This is his first race. So we'll see how he does. We'll keep a close eye on him, being his first time with these guys, and Josh Coley out there as well. So we'll see if that outside row can get some momentum. Obviously, when you have 15 to 20 cars on the inside, 4 cars is not going to do a whole lot, but we do see, looks like that's the 3 that's jumping out there of Damian Leininger as well.
Yeah, it looks like we got the 5 car where Brandon Dorsett decided to jump down under the apron and drop to the back here. So obviously he didn't like what he saw.
Yeah, that's you'll see a lot of that probably here tonight. I use the word jockeying for position. People will jump back and forth from lane to lane. The only way I can describe, Talladega racing like this, it is almost like 200 mile per hour, 5 o'clock traffic. People are going to be jumping in and out of lanes, going back and forth. And at the end of the day, you're trying to get to that goal as quick as you can, and you want to be in the lane that's moving.
Yeah, there's plenty of people that probably wish 5 o'clock traffic would move at 200 miles an hour, but here it does. And, man, I'll tell you what, it's nerve-wracking.
It is very nerve-wracking as we're seeing that outside row start to mount something. Really, the first probably 5 rows here have pretty good gather up. But we go back here a little past Josh Coley, back here to Brian Jones, Jim Locking, Jameer Muhammad. These guys are just kind of scattered out. They really aren't grouped together. And this is interesting. I don't think this is by mistake, because look who's back here. Jameer Muhammad and Mikey Neal. Those 2 are very calculated drivers. I'm sure they're kind of hanging back early in this race to determine how the front of this field is going to go.
Yeah, I don't think there's any mistake. Like I said, these are some guys that kind of started in the middle, and with a field this size, I think the middle's kind of no man's land. It certainly doesn't feel like where you want to be, unless, of course, you got plenty of good drivers around you. But, even then, the longer you sit there, the more you're kind of risking it.
Yeah, and you do not want to be back there too long to risk it. You want to get up you want to hang around, you want to be safe, but you've got to be moving forward and be safe. So there's a fine line between being, cautious and possibly getting yourself out of the draft. And if you get out of this draft, especially with this front group, as we'll go back to them here for a minute, with this front group being as big as they are, if you lose too much of that draft, they could very easily come back and swallow you up and put you a lap down, and that's the last thing you want, especially with a group like this, which you've been here when this has happened. I don't think it's going to happen here, but they have been known to go caution-free in races before.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen this very group go caution-free in some of these Superspeedway races. I mentioned that mine did the other night. It's pretty rare for that to happen, but these race car drivers are very respectful drivers, and even though there's a few guys here that I'm not familiar with since I was last here, the majority of these guys I am familiar with, and these guys can wheel these cars. They're good, and so certainly not out of the realm of possibility here.
It definitely is not out of the realm of possibilities. We'll get it out there. But I have noticed that outside row is kind of faded out. It's still got James Zarello on the outside, who's actually technically being scored as the race leader at the moment here. We'll put that top 3 up on the chart there for you to see. So it's kind of a 2x2 battle as they're kind of spread out there. Jason Allison's not quite on the back bumper right now of Reese Milton, but there he bunches up, and James Zarello does lose the lead, but he had a nice little run going, and I think he still does, even though there's 2 of them there.
Yeah. Yep. Forgive me here. I'm having a little bit of a PC hang-up here, so trying to get that sorted out here for a second, Charles. So I'm going to go silent here for a minute and get things sorted out.
All right, well, he does that. We'll let him notify us when he's ready. He'll give us a little note there, poke to let us know. Bryson Barker, though, in second place. James Zarello does take the lead. We're just talking about him, as he does manage to slide up in front of Bryson Barker and Reese Milton to take the lead, and he leaves the 98 of Jerry Glenn out to dry. I hate to say it, but it could be a product of possibly being the new guy here. People want to work with you, but they don't know you that well, so they may not work with you as well as they would a teammate. So it's going to be interesting to see if anybody works with him later on in this race, as it looks like James Zarello having a connection issue here, and it's messing with us here a little bit too. With James Zarello back into it, we're going to go back here a little bit to John Van Rellis, Tony Rice on the outside with the 3 of Damian Leininger as well. Let's see, we got I believe that's Josh Coley back there as well. So Josh Coley is battling with him, and here goes the 555. He's going to get up into the mix as well. So we have several drivers up there: Butch Frazier, Tony Rice, Damian Leininger, Josh Coley, and I'm not sure who else. We got Brian Jones back there, but he's a little ways off. So far he's not quite being able to get up there. So let's go back up to the front, as they're mounting that run, but they just aren't quite able to get up there with just 4 cars. They definitely need a few more. Let's go back here. I see positions being changed further back in this field. This is what I was talking about a little earlier, is how spread out these guys are. They're not staying grouped together back here in the back of this field like we would expect. Jameer Muhammad, who's someone we talked about, doesn't want to lose this draft. He's back in 24th, but he's got Alex Huffman, Justin Starr with him up there, or back there, so he has some really fast cars to work with. He just needs to get it back to the front. He was about mid-pack, so he's definitely got his work cut out for him here. We do want to go to Josh Coley in 9th place right now, who, while he is on the outside road, does have he did have the fastest lap. Now it's going to be Brian Bizzle that has it here on lap 9, as we're on lap 10 now. 49.512 was the fastest lap. We've had one lead change here. Bryson Barker and James Zarello are the only 2 drivers that have led any laps here tonight so far. I want to give a shout out to everyone in chat that is watching. Jeff's having a few issues here. He's getting those sorted out here, as I'm sure he will soon. But let's go back to the front of this field. James Zarello still leading this. Reese Milton trying to make a run on the outside, but he's all by himself, as they're going to go 3 wide here for a minute. We'll see if that will work out for him. It's not. They're going to settle back to 2 wide. Reese Milton's not completely alone here, but for the most part, he is by himself, as they are really going to go double file here. And Jeff losing connection. He'll be back here shortly, I'm sure, as I believe this happened last night to him as well. So we'll hopefully get him back. Side by side they go through the corner. We're going to take a look and see here. It is Bryson Barker that is trying to get the lead back. Will he have enough space to slide in is the question. And we'll definitely be waiting to see. And he has the space, but he's not slid down just yet. And he does now, and he's going to take Reese Milton with him to 2nd place. So a good job for both of them, Bryson Barker and Reese Milton, to take the lead. So a good job for them. Just an outstanding job. As we're going to see a lot more of this throughout this race. People trading spots back and forth, and somebody getting shoved out of line. I believe that's Jim Locking in the 91. It is indeed. He gets bumped out of line just a little bit, and he has to cycle back all the way to 13th place. So he will have to just kind of fight his way back. And we get reports from Jeff that Windows decided to update on him here mid-race. That perfect timing for Windows, of course. So he'll be back here shortly. He's got some decent internet, so shouldn't take too long here. Let's check in with Jason Allison. We know him. Obviously, we talk about him from iBog, the one that we designed the overlays that he put them in action and brought them to life here for you to watch. He did all of that. He's actually racing here tonight. Let's go and take a look at that. Is that number 28 machine right there, running the VRN paint job here tonight. So a big shout out to him for running our logo, of course, and all of our sponsors on that car as well. Actually, I don't even see it there. It is his own logo is on the back, so big shout out to him for running that here tonight. As we'll go up here, you can just see all of the sponsors here. Bryson Barker is currently your race leader in the number 84 machine, but that outside is mounting a run. We'll see. We're getting reports in about different stuff here and there, and we're checking in on it. Reese Milton in that Global Building Contractors number 76 Chevrolet is pushing that 84, and so is James Zarello in the 13. All of these guys are pushing them to the lead, so this could get very interesting to see how it plays out. When these guys are going to come down and pit is going to be a good question, as they're on lap 15 of 65. They will have to come down pit road. We do not have a fuel window, though. So that is something that we were unable to get a hold of before here. We probably should ask one of these drivers, but we just didn't get the chance to do it. But unfortunately, we will see when they come in. There will be groups of people that are coming in here, as we're going to zoom out here so you can see more of this field. Josh Coley fighting his way. He's currently back in 11th place on that outside row. So we've seen a lot of drivers really start to use that outside lane. It just hasn't really been too productive, although we have seen some drivers that have made their way to the front and gained the lead off of it. Obviously the 84 and gained the lead and took the 76 with him. So we have seen some progress from it, just not a ton of progress on that outside row here on lap 16 though of 65, as they're watching this front group here, and really it's the whole field right there. You see them all bunched together. We go back to Brandon Young in 27th. He's right there, so he's in the main group. So first through 27th are all still right here in this main group. There is no second pack, and we mentioned that because we have seen that before, where there will be a second group that kind of hangs back in their own little pack in case the big one happens here in the front. Tonight we're not seeing that. They're going to try to make it 3 wide, but they go back to 2 wide here. So it's really one big group, but they're all scattered out. So I wouldn't call it 2 groups. It's still one, just all over the place in the track, as we got some wiggling going on up here. James Zarello gets a little wiggle there, as well as I believe that's Reese Milton. May have got a little loose from the push he was getting, and he goes to the front, and he is your race leader. But will Butch Frazier beat him to the line on the outside is the question. It's 4 on 4 here coming to the line. There's really no help from Jason Allison back there, or John Van Varelis, I believe that is helping them. Well, these are the 2 cars that are behind them. So we'll see, but no, it's going to be Reese Milton by quite a bit, as that outside row just doesn't really want to work together too much here tonight that we've seen. So it's kind of surprising. I figured they would work together a little bit, but they are just not really wanting to work together too much here tonight early on in this race. So we're going to keep an eye on that. While we have a moment here, let's go on board here as we'll go radio silent. Let's go back here to about, say, James Zarello or so. Let's go to John Van Varelis. Let's go on board with him real quick, and we'll let you see what it's like to be here in his shoes. All right, you are watching Onboard here with the 78 of John Van Varelis. As look how dirty that windshield is getting. It's not completely impairing his vision, but it is not clean by any means, and that is all from the rubber and the dirt and the grime that is being thrown up from the cars in front of him, and there's just nothing he can do about that at the moment, just because of the way you have to race this track as they come up to the line. This is where we were talking about earlier. Normally the start-finish line would have been a little further back. There it is right there. So the start-finish line quite a ways back here compared to where it is for most tracks. As it is actually further past the start-finish line here on lap 20 of 65. The real question is, will we see another lead change? Right now it's Reese Milton out front, and that outside row once again has really not been able to do too much as they're falling back, and it's turning into a single line race. But don't kid yourself, we still have over half this race to go, and by the time we get to the end, you will definitely see some major 2, possibly even 3 wide racing. This race is anything but over right now, so I expect to see some really good racing coming up here in the next little bit. So we'll be waiting to see if and when they finally decide to take it 2 and 3 wide, and will we see the big one here tonight? Those are all questions we don't know the answer to just yet, but I'm sure we will be finding them out shortly. So definitely something to be paying attention to see if and when we do see it. We'll see here as we are monitoring everything here, and hopefully everything looks good on the stream for y'all, as we've been working with internet issues, trying to get those sorted out here, and we do hope they look good for you. But what a race so far, even though it's going single file here in this last little bit. It is definitely proving to be a great race so far, as again, we kind of expected this to happen. We don't expect them to go too crazy early in this race, as right now they are doing exactly what we expect them to do here. Is Reese Milton may have a little connection issue there. Single file out, and they will eventually go 2 and 3 wide, and we will see some really good racing here in the closing laps. But first we have to get through pit stops. We have not even been through the first round of pit stops yet, so that is where it's going to get really, really interesting when they come down pit road. Who will they come down with? As one thing we don't have access to here tonight is the radios for these guys talking to each other, so we don't know how they are communicating with each other, or who's communicating with each other. We know how, it's a bad wording there, but we don't know who's communicating with who's planning to work with each other. So all of that is stuff we just don't know here. We do know Jerry Glenn has already come down pit road. He has completed a stop all by himself, as he is all the way back in 27th. He is on the lead lap, but the question is, how much longer will he be on the lead lap? As we got some jockeying going around, smoke is flying, and that is not good. I believe we may have somebody going around, possibly. No, I thought we had cars going around, but look at all these guys coming down. Let's go and look here. You have all the way from the 13 of James Lorello, Bryson Barker, John Van Rellis, Mikey Neal coming into his pit stall. We got John Van Rellis, Dan Butler, Brian Jones, Alex Huffman, Reese Milton, Brandon Young, Sam Crow, Sterling Smith coming down. All these drivers coming down pit road and somehow make it through without any problems. What a just very random. They just immediately came down. We did not expect them to come down this quick like that. We knew they were coming down, and it looks like it's going to be around lap 25, so I say random, but it was just so sudden. They all just came down immediately, a huge group. And here come the rest of the field, and this one may not get out so clean, as there is a little smoke and some beating and banging. I'm not sure who that is, as we'll go here a little bit And that is going to be Tony Rice that gets into the back of Jamir Muhammad, I do believe. And that is going to give both of them some damage. Oh, and more contact on pit road between Tony Rice, and I'm not sure who that is. This is the 101 of David Gainforth. He just dives right into his door, and that will cause both of them heavy damage. Justin Starr out front, leading this race all by himself. He is the lone car that did not come down pit road at all. Here he is on 25 laps, and he's going to come down to pit road this time, as he's going to get those brakes wound up, and he will get to pit road. He is scored as your race leader right now. When they come around, this will be your leader right here as the 101 of David Gainforth, but now he has damage that he got from the 64 of Tony Rice after they made contact on pit road. So Tony Rice getting into the back of Jamir Muhammad, as well as getting into the door of the 101 of David Gainforth. Justin Starr still being scored as your race leader, and I have a feeling that's about to change here very shortly, as it looks like I stand corrected. David Gainforth is going to lose a bunch of spots. He's coming back down pit road here, probably to repair some of that damage, and that's going to give the lead to Brandon Dorsett in the 5, and he's got Brian Bizzle right behind him in the 24, with Bryson Barker behind him, followed by Mikey Neal. So let's zoom out, and you can see this is the group. So this is that first group that came down. They've cycled back around between all of the pit stops here. So unfortunately, some contact happening on pit road, and that did hurt a couple of drivers. So that is very unfortunate here for some of them. But we're on lap 26 of 65, as we have yet to see a caution at all, especially here at Talladega. That is very uncommon to not see a caution, much less surprised that we have not seen a big wreck. But right now, the odds of a big one happening just pretty much broke in half. Is 50% less likely, as we have this group right here. Then you go back, you have this group going on. If you go back a little bit more, then you have some stragglers here. There's James Zarello, who was one of your leaders here. He led 5 laps. He's got damage now. Let's take a look at that. Look how much damage he has to that number 13 machine. Heavy damage to his car, so he is going to have to struggle the rest of this race. They do not have any fast repairs. So unfortunately, his night of winning this race is over. But look who's coming to life now. That is the 8 of Mikey Neal, sitting in second place, as he is pulling his teammate Alex Huffman as well as Jason Allison to the front. So we have new people up front here, as again, it is the 84 Bryson Barker. He's no stranger to leading laps, and he's doing it here, led 13 so far. Mikey Neal, though, trying to get by him. We'll see. He's not trying too hard. There's no real point to try too hard right now. He just really wants to kind of run behind him here as you watch him. And he may try to pull out. If he can get Alex Huffman to go with him, his teammate, I'm sure he would. But if he could get Jason Allison to go with him as well, that would be 3-on-1, like a tag team there. He could probably get him past here if he absolutely tried. So we'll be watching to see if he does indeed try to make a pass here shortly. But he doesn't need to. He can sit back and just kind of ride right now. We're not even to lap 30. We're fixing to be. So lap 32 or so down the backstretch, we will be at the halfway point. As here comes the 45 of Brian Jones, shot out of a cannon, goes side by side with Jason Allison down the backstretch right now, as these guys are putting on one heck of a battle, trying to get to the front. We'll be interested to see who's leading this race at the halfway point. Alrighty, well, we here are on the lap 29. now on lap 30 of 65. We are going to get to the halfway point here very shortly, but before we do, here for our first time and only time here tonight, we do want to welcome everybody that is new here or just hasn't subscribed before. If you like the racing, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell. You'll be notified of all upcoming events, as well as the thumbs up. If you like tonight's racing action, hit that thumbs up and let us know you like it. And of course, the only time we'll announce it here, of course, if you want to be a little bit more part of the channel and help VRN do what we do best here on the channel, there is a donation link that pops up from time to time. If you feel like you want to do that, go ahead. If you don't, we don't care. We're just glad to have you here. That's what it's about at the end of the day. The race fans, the racers, the leagues, we do this for them. If it wasn't for y'all, we wouldn't be here. So thanks for tuning in here tonight as you're watching this lead group. Back behind them, though, there is some racing going on. It's its own little group back here, led by, I believe, Craig Covington in the 96 leading this group, with Dustin Covington, Damian Laniger, Josh Coley's back here, Brian Dorsey, Matthew Ellis. This is a separate little group back here off of the main group. Yeah, so we are down in Texas here, so if you're anywhere around there, that is where we are located. But back to this front group, Bryson Barker still leading it, and I'm really shocked here to see that Brian Jones, all by himself, he's actually making a valiant run here to the front. He's, again, all by himself on an outside lane, but he's holding his own. He's holding about third or fourth place, but to be a single car doing that is pretty impressive. I do want to point out here that Dustin Covington does have the fastest lap, and that was back on lap 18. We have not seen a lap since then get faster. Currently was a 49.254, and we haven't pulled this up here tonight, so we are going to pull that up very quickly, and that, of course, is our track facts here for Talladega Superspeedway. Of course, 4 turns, 2.65 mile track. It's technically 2.66, but close enough. 65 laps, 172 miles as we are officially at the halfway point. Track temp, 89 degrees. While we want to talk about that a little bit, of course, with the wind at 9 miles per hour out of the southeast, that 89 degrees is where we want to hit on here. As earlier in this race, before we got started, when there was less cloud cover, this track was up to like 99 degrees, at some point I believe over 100, and it has dropped. So all this rubber they're laying down, the track temperature has actually gone the opposite way. That you might think it is actually not picking up heat, it is losing heat in the track. However, we just lost a degree in the air as well, so that'll affect the track temperature. But so far, only 89 degrees. If we see a caution, that could drop even further. So we'll be looking to see. But so far, caution-free here at Talladega Superspeedway. Very interesting that we have not seen one. We've talked about it quite a bit, that it very well could go caution-free. And it is doing that here tonight so far. These are very good drivers that know exactly what they are doing. I kind of expected this, but you never know what exactly is going to happen until you get out here and get to the race. But just an outstanding job by these guys to see everyone doing as good of a job as they are doing, and keeping this race going caution free. But here comes Mikey Neal. I know Mike Neal's out in chat. I believe I saw him earlier. Here comes his son, the 8 of Mikey Neal, on the outside, making a run here. He does have his teammate, the 83 of Alex Huffman, with him, as well as Brian Jones, Damian Laniger, and Josh Coley on the outside. They're making that run. So far, Mikey Neal has not led any laps in this race. Neither has Alex Huffman, so they would both love to get up to the front and try to make it happen here for the lead. They've got enough to get Mikey ahead, but they don't quite have enough room to get both of them ahead, and I believe they may do it here as they are going to slide down exactly as we kind of figured would happen. Mikey Neal to the front of this race for the first time here tonight as they come out of turn 2, and we'll see when they come to the line, though. There's still 3 cars up on that high side trying to make a run. Will Brian Jones lead his first lap here, or will it be Mikey Neal when they come to the line? We'll see. They come out of turn 4 into the trioval, but remember, you're in the trioval right now. Right about there's where the flag stand would be. Sorry, right about there. But that's not where it's at here tonight, as it is way there, and there goes the 45. He cuts down, takes the lead. It is Brian Jones that leads his first lap, and now Damian Leininger's going to try to get up there as well. As you see, people are starting to get into that third lane and make something happen up there. We'll see, will it play in their favor here tonight, as lane 3 has come to a stop already. They're not going to use it. And again, we should see another round of pit stops. They went about 25 laps. So if you add another 25 laps to that, it would be 60. So we're going to see 2 pit stops here tonight. So this is going to be happening here at about 10 laps. We're going to see these drivers come back down pit road again. So be a very interesting, about 10 to 12 laps or so. But regardless, let's go back here a little bit to this group, a little further back. They are not organized at all. They are 3 wide here sometimes, 2 wide most of the time. They're not organized, which means they're not going to be able to make anything happen to catch that main group, and they very well could fall off of the pack, and they don't want that. They want to stay as close to that pack as they can. But some of these guys do have damage, so that's going to make it hard here. As you see back here is the 101 of David Gainforth and the 64 of Tony Rice. Those 2 earlier made contact on pit road, caused both of them a ton of damage as one tried to leave pit road, the 101 of David Gainforth, and the 64 of Tony Rice trying to get to his pit stall, and both of them collide on pit road. And that, again, doesn't bring out a caution, but does cause a lot of damage. They're going to get by Jim Locking here, who takes it to the high side. He's now 1 lap down, and he's going to do the respectable thing and stay up high, let these guys by. No issues there. You're going to let him by fairly easy here, as we're on lap 39 of 65. It is Damian Leininger that is out front. He's led 2 laps before, and now here he is leading the race once again. We'll see here what is going to happen in the end, but we're going to be coming up on pit stops here in about 6 or 7 laps. Before we do here, we need to get one commercial break out of the way. So we will go non-stop here so you can see all of the racing action, and we'll be right back here in just a few moments.
Nothing's gonna stop me now.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and I say we, as I found Jeff wandering around the booth, so he's back. So welcome back to the booth, Jeff.
Yeah, I got lost, man. This place is huge.
It is. We pack it out with all the amenities here. What they don't know is we actually have a shrimp bar in the back where you can get all the seafood you want, shrimp, whatever you want. It's all back there. But back to the racing here. It's been a crazy one. We've had 8 different leaders here with 9 different lead changes. Josh Coley is now battling for the lead on the outside with Damian Leininger, and he may have him at the line. We'll see. That outside row hasn't had many cars, but it has had enough to push a couple of people to the lead, and then it kind of fizzles out and comes back again.
Yeah, it's a little harder in these cars. Sometimes you can make that outside row. If you can get like 2 cars just basically bumper to bumper, they got to be good to do it. 3 cars, if you can get them on a title, do it. But the problem is with these Xfinity cars, they don't like to make contact. They don't do well even on a straightaway. They just not like the trucks do, or even as kind of like the Cup car does. These things, man, you hit somebody's bumper and you've just got to be 100% square on, or you're going to send them around in these cars. So easy to hook them. So tough to get tight enough in that outside row with just a couple cars to actually make it move.
It definitely is. As we were just reading chat here, we were watching that Mikey Neal has fallen back a little bit. He does have his teammate back there pushing. I've noticed here, and they are in the same race channel, we know that. But the 8 of Mikey Neal, the 83 of Alex Huffman, and the 28 of Jason Allison, those 3 have been stuck together at the hip all race long. Every time they have been able, if one's gone back, they all go back. So those 3 are working together very closely here tonight. And it very could possibly, if they can get up to the front, could come down to one of those 3 winning.
Yeah, hey, it always helps to have friends here, man. If you can get 2 or 3 guys that are that dedicated and working together, that's huge. Like I said, 3 guys working together, running that tight. If they're comfortable running that tight, they can make their own row. They can get up there. If they can't run that tight together, that straight, then they're going to need more help. But you get 3 or 4 guys that tight working together like that. They can hang back and they can get up to the front when it's go time. So that's a big deal and something worth watching.
It definitely is. So we'll be watching those as we're watching the front here. Josh Coley is leading this, and this is, you just got in here time for pit stops, round 2, as this group coming in not quite as big as the first group that came down. Well, I speak too fast. It is pretty big, so they pretty much divided it into 2 big groups.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have full controls. I'm not back up under full capacity, so I'm just bouncing between car to car, so I haven't identified all the groups yet. But, it looked like to me they already had 1 green flag around the pit stops, and they're able to stay in pretty much large groups. So that's good. These guys are doing a good job on their pits, and just like having guys to work with, you really need to come out of that pits with 4 or 5 guys. Anything less than that, man, you're going to be just so slow.
Yeah, and we'll see the second group come down here next lap. They didn't come down the very next lap, and they're doing that again here. And last time we saw, you were away there for a minute, Justin Starr did not come down. He came down all by himself. So I was really surprised with that. And we also had the 64 of Tony Rice, who is on pit road now. He is out of this race. Him and the 101 of David Gateforth actually collided on pit road. One was trying to leave their pit stall, the other trying to get into it. And they actually collided, causing a big collision on pit road. Between them 2, luckily nobody else was involved.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, pit road in these cars, trying to get into pit road with this pack, trying to get in there hot, especially if you got a small group of cars. You don't want to be the guy that falls behind because your buddies will leave you. They can't wait. And just puts a lot of pressure on you to really make a really good pit stop, and it's so easy to lock up those brakes and send that car spinning just a little bit, to have that collision or slide through a pit box or any of that stuff. And the pressure here at Talladega just seems to amplify that when you're trying to do these green flag pit stops.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can see it, as I'm not sure if the fans out there are catching on to it here, but with this new dynamic clouds, these clouds are moving. As you see, turn 3 and 4, the backstretch is very sunny. The whole front stretch and the pits is very shaded right now, and that's actually dropped the track temp here 2 degrees. Obviously they are taking that temperature on the front stretch, but here it's on that front stretch, it's actually very cloudy, opposite of the back stretch though.
Yeah, and where that might actually help is getting her woke down to get in the pits there. Not real sure what difference that make. I'd have to practice that, but other than that at Talladega, just from the downforce, from the speed these cars are going and the banking on this track, we get so much aero grip on this track that shade or temp really not going to make that big of a difference for these guys.
Yeah. It probably won't make too different. It is a cool little feature for us more than anything. But yeah, it's definitely something just cool for us to watch. As again, you'll see it gradually do it. It'll just, those clouds move. And when they do, it'll just make a little shadow on the track. So it's kind of cool to watch. But like you said, at a track like this, won't make too much of a difference here for these guys. But this is a group we're watching back here with Alex Huffman a little further back. Brian Bizzle, he currently is leading this race, but I want to point out he does not have any help, and they're about to catch him in a hurry.
Yeah, and they won't just catch him, right? They're just going to fly right by him because he'll be lucky to latch on to the back of that package. I think we're seeing here he's able to kind of slide it in the middle, but I think that was because a friend of his, the 5 there, Brandon Dorsett, was nice and caught him. Would have been real easy to let these, for these guys to just let him go flying back. That's how big that speed difference is.
Yeah, it is crazy, and it's good to have somebody like that will that'll pick you up like that. If not, like you said, he would have been just pretty much ate alive here when they came by, and with the speed they have. I do want to point out, though, this race is coming close to the end here, as this next time by we will be at 15 laps to go. And again, it's Talladega. It's over a 2.5 mile track. You think 15 laps, that's a lot of distance around this track, but in the grand scheme of things, caution free, no more pit stops. If we don't have a caution, that's really not that long of racing.
No, especially here. And so, we talked about the 3 guys working together. Well, look who's in this front group, because if we don't get that pit stop, this front group, and I call it the second group, but whatever, I mean, that's really what we're looking at for the race there. And we got Alex Huffman working with Jason Allison there, on that inside road. And then, of course, you got Mikey Neal trying to figure out how to get up there with his 2 buddies. So 3 out of about this first 10 group of guys are all working together.
They are indeed, and this is not quite yet. I don't think we're at the point where we are going to start seeing some crazy stuff going on. But here, probably, I would say within the next 5 to 7 laps, again, being the racing side of things, you can kind of give a little bit more on 5 to 7. We have about 5 laps to go, 5 or 6 laps to go. That's when we're really going to see these people, that switch just gets flipped, and it's go time. It goes from hang in there, try to put a good finish, to just go. And that's when we're going to see potential crazy moves, people really working together.
Well, if you're not in this lead pack, it's pretty much gone time. Right, unless we get a caution here, it's over. So it's always one of these tough things at a track like this. It's trying to decide how long to wait. As we see the 24 right now of Brian Pizzell, he's done waiting. He's got that third line going on the outside. I think he's got the 5 there behind him. Can't tell. Brandon Dorsett there. They fall back in line, but clear to see by that already. these guys aren't wanting to wait around. It's already feeling like go time up there in that front pack.
It is indeed. And they are coming up. They got about, I would say, 9 laps to go-ish in that area. So regardless, less than 10 laps to go here in this race. If my math is correct, it may not be, but I think that's correct. But anyway, Bryson Barker out front. We got Brian Jones in the 45. Every once in a while, I'm not too sure he doesn't want to try to make this 3 wide for the lead. As you see him dart out behind the 3, but then he tucks back in. He very well could just be trying to get some fresh air, but he has been known to make it 3 wide before, so he very well could. It'll just be a matter of waiting to see if that's what he's doing or just trying to get some fresh air.
Oh, it could be a lot of things at play. Number one, when you're staring at somebody's tail fin, you can't really see where the corner starts, and so it's hard in that outside row to get the timing of that corner, and a lot of times you'll be late turning in, and that kind of pops out into your own row. As you see this top row there, they kind of almost fan out, each car a little bit further out in the corner. And that's just a result of just not having the field of view. As far as overheating, these cars, they don't run a lot of tape in this fixed series. And they're really not hard to cool down. You could just drag that brake a little bit and put a half a car length between you. And it'll cool down in probably less than a half a lap. So, and it takes a few laps to get heated up. But you do still have to mind your temperatures, but you don't necessarily got to get out of line to cool these things down.
Yeah, and he did go 3 wide, so that was just trying to go 3 wide, but it didn't work out for him. And now he's back at the back of this lead group here, as it is still Bryson Barker out front. And he has now been the only driver to leave double digits. He's led 22 laps. Everybody else single digits. 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that is not just being silly counting down like that. That's actually how they've run.
We got the 3 there. Got into the back of the 83. 83 was trying to put some moves there to get away from Bryson Barker. Was throwing some blocks. And looked like the number 3... just bumper hooked him a little bit because the 83 got slowed down and into the wall. Alex Huffman goes, and I'm not sure that he can latch back onto this pack. We'll see. He's close.
And while you were talking about that, the 3 and I believe that was the 48 had contact. Or no, sorry, the 96 had contact as well. Or the 98. That's not 96. So the 98 had contact with the 3 as well. So like we talked about here, this time by, it's starting to ramp up. These guys are starting to get a little bit more aggressive now because this is the time where you have to get to the front if you want to win this race.
Yeah, they're absolutely throwing some blocks up there. They were on the bumpers here. I think Alex Huffman might be in a little bit of trouble here. I'm not sure. He's falling back pretty fast, so I'm not sure he might have got damage or regardless, at a little over 2 seconds back, 3 seconds now, he's lost this pack. So Mikey Neal is going to have to find somebody else to work with up there. But I think he was probably already plotting that anyways as Alex Huffman was running up front.
Yeah, and his other little friend out there on the track that he was working with was Jason Allison. He's sitting in second place, so there's a 4-car gap between those two. So he's not going to be much help for him at the moment, as the 3 and the 5 get a little tangled there, and the 5 gets a little loose.
Yeah, we're laps are winding down now, so if I'm at the back of that first pack, I'm starting to try to figure out how do I get up front, right? Maybe I try to sucker some guys and make them think I'm going outside, so they try to jump up in front of me and I duck inside them, leave them out to dry, or do I try to start that line? Unfortunately, if you start it from the back, everybody's going to pop out in front of you, just like we saw right there. One car goes up and 2 more jump right up in front of them, but definitely go time with 7 to go if you're in the back of this pack, because getting to the front's not going to be easy if you don't have 2 or 3 guys to work with there.
It is definitely not, and they are all over the place. The 84 goes all the way up, comes back down to block the 28 from taking the lead, almost collects the 5, the 3, and the 24 into a big pile-up, and they are really starting to amp up the aggressiveness here in these last laps. as we are on 59 of 65. There's single file for the moment, but I know as well as you do, it is not going to stay that way for long.
Well, I think everybody regrouping, right? We got spread out a little bit. Let's figure out our next move. We know we got the 84 up there. He's going to change lanes. He's going to try to stop momentum, throw block. So right now, here comes the 200-mile-an-hour chess match, right? You got to try to set that guy up, make him think you're going to go one way, go the other way, and you don't do all that 200 miles an hour with cars inches away from your bumper.
Yeah, it's a strategy game now. You've got to figure out the best way to outthink. That's the thing. It's not just about outracing at a track like this. You go to a track where it's about speed, it's about outracing. At a track like this, it's kind of almost, I hate to say it, but it's like Survivor. You've got to outthink and outwit the people that you're racing with. You have to maneuver around, fake them out, do whatever you got to do to get them out of their line and get into where they were.
Yeah. So we just saw Jason Allison there trying to jump up and catch Mikey Neal in the 24, but that didn't pan out, so he had to go back down. Mikey Neal has dropped back to the back again. He's going to regroup. There goes Jason Allison. Now he's going to jump up in front of the 45. Bryson Barker up the block again. So just what we talked about. The 5, though, Brandon Dorsett's going to actually get inside, and then they're going to hang Bryson Barker alone in the middle. So everybody kind of said, just block this, huh? And they went 3 wide. Bryson Barker, ping pong ball into the 45, down on the apron, and somehow that's it. There's the caution.
That is the only caution of the night, and it is going to be the one that ends the race here with 5 laps to go. Again, only caution of the night, and it happens to end this race, and that will give the win to Brandon Dorsett unofficially until they cross the line. And the rookie here, the new guy, Jerry Glenn, finishing in second, and Jason Allison, also a rookie, his first race. So Talladega, they say it's a track that is a little bit about luck and putting yourself in a good spot. We have Brandon Dorsett's, I believe, the first win of the series, and 2 first-time drivers here finishing second and third.
Yeah, we had quite the chess match unfold, and unfortunately for Bryson Barker, who looked like he had this race under control, all of a sudden he found himself in the middle, getting treated like a ping pong ball there. And as he got shuffled to the back and bounced between the cars, these guys just couldn't hang on to it. But definitely a valiant effort, and wow, just quite the finish that was. Even though we ended under caution, man, that was crazy coming to the finish line.
That it was, and indeed just an outstanding finish. Obviously, the finish isn't going to be all that great, of course. It's going to be under caution, but leading up to it was definitely some good racing here. And almost, we just came 5 laps short of going caution-free here. And, going caution-free at any race is awesome to see, but if they could have done it here at Talladega, that says something about a group of guys, how good they are racing together.
Well, and it's not like there's 14 cars out. You had 27 cars start this race, just about go caution-free. So you've got a full field of cars that did 2 green flag pit stops and didn't get a caution through those. So, we had some fenders on pit road and maybe a Windows update or 2 that messed us up along the way. But, these guys just fantastic job. 27 cars going that long without a caution. And then things getting that dicey there at the end, and these guys cutting it up. That's why I always love watching these race car guys go at it.
Yeah, they are definitely a great group of drivers. And here we got 3 laps to go. So while we have a break, let's go ahead and we'll step to a quick commercial break. And we come back, we'll go through your unofficial race results, and we will get over to the post-race show.
thermal take. Say command.
What is the weather like in LA?
The weather is clear in LA.
What is the weather like in New York?
The weather is rain in New York.
Use flow mode.
Low.
Say hello, TT.
Hello, TT.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Here it's coming up on one to go. Even though it's under caution, your one lap to go is presented by Northwest Racing Series, and unfortunately ending under caution, but it is one to go. When they get to the line here, there it is. White flag is in the air and the yellow at the same time. So we're going to go ahead and go through your unofficial race results. So Jeff, you want to go through our top 10, and then I will bring us home here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Your winner tonight, the number 5 car, Brandon Dorsett. Bringing it home in second place, the 98 of Jerry Glenn. In third place, the 28, Mr. Ibog himself, Jason Allison. In fourth place, 45, Brian L. Jones. In fifth place, the 84 of Bryson Barker. Bringing it home in sixth, the 3 car of Damian Leiniger. In seventh place, the number 8 of Mikey Justified Neal. In eighth place, we got the 48 of Dustin Covington. In ninth, the 99 of Justin Starr. And rounding out your top 10 is the 51 of Brandon Young.
In 11th place is going to be the 50 of Sterling Smith. 12th place will be the 2 of Jameer Muhammad. 13th will be the 9 of Brian Dorsey. 14th will be the 6 of Matthew Ellis. And 15th will go to the 96 of Craig Covington. 16th will go to the 83 of Alex Huffman. 17th, the 33 of Josh Coley. 18th will go to the 21 of Dan Butler. 19th will go to the 555 of Butch Frazier. 20th will go to the 91 of Jim Locking. 21st, we'll go to the 101 of David Gainforth. 22nd, we'll go to the 70 of Sam Crow, your first driver out of the race here tonight. 23rd, we go to the 24 of Brian Bizzle. 24th, the 64 of Tony Rice. 25th, we'll go to the 13 of James Lorello. 26th, we'll go to the 76 of Reese Milton. And 27th, we'll go to the 78 of John Van Varelis. And, of course, that will do it here for your unofficial race results. Just in time. They are just about to take it to the line, and this race will be over. So your, again, unofficial race winner here tonight, coming to the line under caution, will be the 5 of Brandon Dorsett, and I believe his first win here in the series.
Yeah, Brandon Dorsett, good driver. He's been around as long as I've been doing the RACECORE stuff, but not sure that I've seen him get a win here in these Xfinity cars before anyway. So fantastic job by Brandon Dorsett. Well done. And congratulations.
Indeed, congratulations to him on the win. We're not done just yet here. We'll zoom in on him as he's going to do some celebrating here in a minute. And we will be right back here with your top 3 drivers here in the post-race show. So don't go anywhere. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here with your post-race show. Starting in third place, of course, the guy that puts all of our overlays together, and we don't have his picture. We used to have it. It was a giant eyeball, but it's not in here anymore. But that is the 28 of Jason Allison. So first off, congrats on the third place. Your first race with this group. Obviously, you won't be able to make every race. You said that when you signed up, but you made it here tonight. Started 5th, finished 2nd, and I'm not sure. I don't believe you led any laps. Didn't. Unfortunately, you didn't. You came up just a little bit short here in third place. What was it? Or how was it racing with these guys? And to go almost caution-free for 65 laps.
It was actually really fun. The biggest thing was the checkups, but everybody was just trying to make sure to make it to the end.
Definitely, everyone was doing a good job at trying to make it to the end, too. I thought we were just going to go. And, of course, the only caution we got did end the race. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. It would have been awesome if we had green, white checkers for that kind of scenario, but it isn't in here yet. But hopefully, maybe in the near future, we would have had that, or we'll have that, and that would change how this all played out. Had this gone green the rest of this way, those last 5 laps, what do you think your odds were of getting the win here? And how awesome would it have been to get the win on your very first race?
It definitely would have been awesome. And with the group of guys that's here, probably like a 5% chance of that.
Well, definitely, they are some very fast drivers. Would have been cool to see the VRN car sitting in victory lane, but regardless, we get to see it with a podium finish here tonight. So again, congrats on the third place, and any sponsors and shout outs you want to give here for tonight's third place finish.
I definitely want to thank RACECORE for letting me race tonight, VRN for doing all the broadcasting that y'all do, and iBog kind of a self one.
And a good one at that. Of course, we just talked about how we use iBog for all of our stuff, and we definitely think everyone else should too as well. Moving on, as we don't have second place with us here, Jerry Glenn, so we'll just kind of interview him and give a little information. It was his first race as well. But we don't have him to talk to, so that's unfortunate. We do have our race winner here tonight. That is the 5 of Brandon Dorsett. And I can't remember, we'll have to get this from you, Brandon. Is this your first win here in this series? I can't remember. We've been here for so long now. But is this your first win here in this little off-season series?
I believe it is. I race with we run the KN and the trucks. So I've won in both of those and got a win over here in the Xfinity car, so that's got 3 checks.
Well, you won it, and Lee, see here, you led only 5 laps, so you led as many as your car number here, but again, it's not about how many you lead, it's which one you lead, and you led that last lap. Same question, it unfortunately ended under caution, but you were already on your move, on the way moving to the front. Had it not ended under caution, obviously you probably would have liked to, run it out and get the win, but do you think you could have held them off here if it stayed green, or was this kind of a good thing for you here to get this win, even though it is under caution?
If you take the caution completely out of it and nobody wrecks, we had 3 Covington Motorsports cars, and we was coming to the front.
Well, there we knew there was to come up there. That's kind of what we were getting to, is that we knew you had your team up there, and that's why we want to talk about this next, is the last few races here that we've seen. Covington Motorsports has always been a good team, but it seems like y'all have just amped it up a little bit and picked up that game just a little bit more, and y'all have been a force to reckon with here in these last 4 or 5 races. So have you found something you like, or is it just a matter of kind of meshing together and working together a little bit better?
I think it's more competitive side. When one guy wins, it forces the other forward to, step up their game and chase after them wins and just rack up as many as the team can get.
Well, you definitely are on the way to doing that, and you did it here tonight. Of course, yourself sitting in victory lane. We watched you do some donuts there and celebrate. So we know you probably got some sponsors and shout-outs, so who would those be here for that victory tonight?
Thank Global Building Contractors for everything they do for RACECORE. Without them guys, we wouldn't even have a place to come race. Thanks BRN for broadcasting. Here we signed a big deal with y'all, broadcast all next season, so looking forward to that. Most importantly, thanking Covington Motorsports for putting together fast race cars week in, week out. Leo's Coney Island, iRacing Drivers World. That's about it.
All right. Well, again, congrats on the win here tonight. And that will do it. Here's again, we don't have second place to talk to. So before we sign off, we have a few things that we need to cover here tonight. Of course, all the sponsors, we forgot to mention them earlier. We do apologize for that. But coming on board here recently is, excuse me, Gold Cube. So make sure you check them out. As well as Global Building Contractors, iRacing Drivers World. Sorry about that. Leo's Coney Island and Dan Butler Designs. And of course, on the broadcast side of things, Northwest Racing Series, Walls at Beard Co., Ohio IndyCar League, Sims Speed Shop, and iBog. Alright, and typically we would sign off with our normal ending, but before we do that, we have a short little video here to play for the upcoming Global Building Contractor Series that we have signed on for next season here on Sundays. So we're going to play that, and then we will sign off. So have a great rest of your night, and we will see you tomorrow night with the Northwest Truck Series.